From crypto to fiat in minutes. For me it's normal, but many people don't know how to do it. Especially for Europeans, since Binance has suspended its SEPA withdrawals. In this video I'm going to show you the most efficient way to transfer crypto from anywhere you'd like to your bank account. So the fastest way, the cheapest way and the best way to minimize price volatility. When I need some quick cash to buy some new clothes or to pay my rent, I usually need to go to 3 steps depending on the altcoin that I want to cash out. The fastest service provider for that is usually either Binance or Coinbase. So if you can use Binance, that's great. But for most people, it's not possible to withdraw any crypto to fiat from Binance to your bank account anymore because of their recent SEPA withdrawal suspension. That means that Coinbase is the best viable option for us. So allow me to explain how I use Coinbase to do exactly that. Coinbase lists the most popular cryptos, which is a list of around 50 different types. You can see the list here. But everyone has their own crypto. And if you're like an early adopter investor, then you'll never be able to transfer your crypto right into Coinbase. Unless you're a really good early adopter investor, of course. That's why we first have to use another service before we can transfer our coins to Coinbase. For that, you're gonna need an account on Binance, KuCoin or Bittrex or any other exchange that has your crypto listed and also decrypted that Coinbase accepts. So which crypto should you choose that Coinbase accepts? Some people say Ethereum. Other people say Bitcoin, because these are the most mainstream and accepted coins. But is this really a smart decision? With Ethereum and Bitcoin, there are mainly 2 large problems. The first one is that it's usually expensive to do transactions. The second one is that it takes a lot of time to do transactions, sometimes up to 30 minutes or 1 hour. And this is exactly what we don't want if we use a crypto just for transport. And that's why I personally recommend using ADA or XLM depending on the amount that you want to transfer. In case you want to transfer more than $25,000, I would advise using ADA because it has the most volume of both coins. It's actually in the top 3 of most traded coins. And the transaction speed is very quickly. Transaction costs is also usually lower than 50 cents. In case you want to transfer less than $25,000, I would recommend using XLM. XLM is one of the fastest transport methods. It can make a transaction in only 5 to 10 seconds sometimes. In my experience, usually it takes around a minute or maybe 5 minutes maximum. And the transaction costs is usually far below 50 cents. So it's a great way to transport. But because the liquidity is often a little bit less with XLM, it's better to either use ADA for the larger transactions and or maybe even better is to split your transactions up in several goes. Now you know what to do. The next thing you have to do is make the transfer. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So on your preferred exchange, look for either XLM or ADA. Choose to transfer your crypto first to usually dollars and then buy your required amount of ADA or XLM. Then go to pro.coinbase.com, which is the exchange version of Coinbase. So if you don't have an account here, make sure to register for one. See the link in the description. Then it will give you an address. In case you're working with ADA, you just need a blockchain ID. If you're working with XLM, don't forget to add a memo as it's required to transfer your funds. And if you don't include one, you can actually lose your funds. Or well, you can't actually lose them, but then you have to contact their support and they will charge you like 5% to retrieve that amount. So just fill in a memo. Once you're on pro.coinbase.com, you'll get a message as soon as your transaction arrives. Usually it will take a few minutes to get the required amount of confirmations on Coinbase, and you will get an email once it has been confirmed. then you have to sell either your XLM or ADA first for the required or whatever fiat that you want to have eventually. So that could be either dollars or euros, for example. Then once you have sold it, you can click on the withdrawal button, and you can withdraw your euro to the Coinbase main site. So just fill in how much you want to withdraw here, usually the entire amount. Then you head over to Coinbase, coinbase.com. And here you can click on portfolio, and below you will see all your fiat amounts. So you can click on whatever you have, euro or dollars, and then you can click withdrawal to your bank account. So usually once you've clicked withdrawal, the amount will be transferred to your bank account instantly. So that's really some of the nice perks of Coinbase. You can just open your bank account right away and you'll see the funds appear there. A question that I often hear is, what can I do to minimize the risk of volatility during any transfer that I perform? And that is a very logical question, of course, because, you know, with the crypto markets these days, in sometimes minutes it can really depreciate with 10%, and yeah, it's not really nice to get such a depreciation, you know, when you're just doing a transfer, of course. And there are a few ways to minimize it. Of course, you cannot evade the risk entirely, but you can do some things to minimize it. The first one is to make sure that you break up withdrawals in smaller pieces. So this is just a means of diversification, where let's say that you have a total amount of $20,000 and you choose XLM, then you can break up the entire amount in 4 smaller transactions and perform them like in 15 or 13 minutes in a row. Okay, so if you do that, then once the price really starts to break down heavily during a transaction, you only lose that on parts of your money. So the second way is to use XLM basically for the transfers, because XLM is just very fast. And well, ADA, if you're in very popular time frames, then it could take maybe 20 or 30 minutes. So if you use XLM, which is the fastest way, you can really minimize your exposure time. Then, lastly, for people that know more about technical analysis, it's important to make transactions during low volatility times. And well, for most people that don't have anything to do with TA, a low volatility can be distinguished by certain patterns in the market. So here's an example of a consolidation pattern, and here's an example of a impulse pattern. And usually during a consolidation is when you want to do the transfer, because at these times the risk of a certain security going up or down heavily is much lower compared to in like a impulse setup. All right, that should do it. Before you go, make my day and like this video. Thank you.